So it's mini day. We're doing something with Blast from the Past. This is actually how I met my videographer, Kobe. This thing was left on the side of the road, and we pulled it in about 1.5 years ago, was it? Yeah. Something like that. And I don't know, it was full oil. So we've been dealing with seals and everything else, and kind of just making this car a build over the last year. You kind of seen it if you watch our Instagram stuff. So we did like an intake and exhaust, and kind of now today is going to be lowering day. We're going to take care of some brake issues. If you guys are mini guys, you know, if you don't have your brake sensors on, they'll start making noise at you every time you start the car. So if you want to pan, this is actually what we're doing today. Everything we got today was from ECS, and we bought it with our own money. But we're going to be doing a Bilstein conversion instead of doing the lift like a lot of guys do. We're going to end up using the all-4 and do a lowering kit because they want to do some mountain racing, or mountain runs, I should say. So we'll be doing shocks, front and rear, H&R springs. We're going to do the top hats or the strut mounts, new bushings, everything. We're going to put EBC parts on it, front and rear for the brakes, and then slotted and vented rotors, plus some spacers because you got to be stanced right? So this is going to be an all-day deal, but hopefully by the end of it, it's going to look pretty dope. So we'll see what happens. I looked in here. I mean, it's 3 bolts on the top. I'm going to end up taking the whole knuckle out. 3 bolts on top. I'm going to unbolt the bottom ball joint, take off the sway bar or the tie rod arm, and just pull the whole assembly out, and then I'll rebuild it on the table so you guys can show. But not too crazy. This is a great time for rotors. There's a big old ridge right here. So let's get this one out. We'll do the driver's side and then go from there. 18 mil bolt. If you get your bolt flush enough and you tap it with a hammer, that one's broken too. We might be getting used to some links today. Yeah, the other one was just like that. That's why these are grease filled, or was. And when you see grease on the outsides, that usually means this is already failed. You'll see the new ones, but it's not supposed to be like that. Forever. See if we can give her a little love tap. This thing has all the ridges. So if you can do that with your rotor, it's time to replace them. Especially if you got this kind of stuff. This does not help. It actually is just old. So it's a good time to upgrade. I'm taking this whole assembly out. So I'm just doing a bunch of stuff in the beginning so I don't have to worry about it later. We're gonna pull this last bolt here for the caliper. There's, I think, 2 under here for the ball joint. So get yourself like the 12-point tools. If you're into Volkswagens, Audis, BMWs, you know you need 12-point stuff. So I gotta go grab that out of the drawer. And then, in theory, all I gotta do is take these 3 bolts off of the top, and this whole assembly is gonna come right out. So this might be the long way, but I like doing it this way. So let me go get some more stuff. The first thing you want to do is take this off before you even lift your car up, because you're not, I mean, you could go against the transmission. I don't love doing that. You can poke the center cap out of your wheel, take a breaker bar, break the axle nut loose, and then raise the car up and do your thing. But if you have an impact, it's a 32. You might need to use like a brass punch or something like that to free this up. If you look at all this rust that's in here, it's also behind here. So when we reassemble this, I'm gonna put some like grease on there just to kind of keep that from happening, and probably some anti-seize in the back area here. But I'm gonna get some penetrating oil, put it in there, and then just give this a couple baby taps to loosen that up. That give us some room for, yeah, it's still, there we go, finally. So when I put this back together, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a bunch of corrosion right in here. You can hear it. So you want to clean all this off because both mating surfaces are like that, and that's what we're fighting. So if you heat up the inside of the bearing, it'll heat up the inside of this. Don't go crazy with it, and kind of give it some separation. And if you spray down in the speed sensor hole, it'll lube up this area like I needed, because these will rust too and connect. So I think it's just because it's cast on aluminum put together. All right, so now that I'm free, I'm just gonna take the 3 bolts out of the top. I'm gonna clean up this bearing. This is a good time to check your bearing for any issues. If you just split the top and bottom like it's pretty popular, you will never see any of this. So you do what you want, but this is how I do it. Because it gives me an opportunity to look at all the other stuff, and I don't want to take this apart twice. So if you've seen me do suspension before, I always leave the front one first, so that way I can take these 2 out, because I'm usually by myself. And then I hold one hand on the thing. I just got hit by a car a couple of days ago, so I might not have as much strength, but you can literally just let it fall with your wrench. And if you took everything out, now you got a shock absorber. All right, so obviously you saw me struggle bus trying to take these axles out. So all the mating surfaces are rusty. So what I'm having Angela over here do is just clean them up a little bit before we put everything back together. And then I'm gonna use some anti-seize in certain areas, so that way that doesn't happen again if I ever have to take this thing apart again. So while you're in here, just look at all your surfaces and clean them up. It takes about 15 minutes, and then you don't have to worry about it later. Your shocks and your knuckles and everything else are all specific. So to help me out right now, I'm just gonna put which side this is. This is the passenger side. I'll do the same thing on the other. And I'll show you your parts in a bit. If you're just putting springs on it, be careful. This is all junk now to us. We're just gonna throw it in the metal bin to get picked up. But you can lube these up, heat these up, bend these tabs, separate, you know, all that good stuff. If you've ever done Honda, same thing. But since I am gonna be throwing these away, I'm just gonna smack the bottom of the shock, so that way we can save some time. This is all we need. Hey-ya! All right, we're gonna clean up the insides of these two. And then just get a little bit of grease in there, not really anything crazy. Just so that way they'll go back together without me really having to do a bunch of work. Because they're a little rusty. Actually, you can really cover it in anti-seize. If you've never had this, this is my second one because it's Sunday and I'm tired. But hyphy juice, if you see this, send us a case, something. All right, well, we're trying to wrap this thing up. This is the driver's side. We already did the front, the passenger. I'm just throwing in the whole link as assembly, as you see. So, I mean, I'm doing this alone like normal. So just grab one of your bolts. I'm gonna use my left hand. There's a little lock washer here, or like a alignment pin here. so that way you know which direction to put it in. So I'll start from the top. So this one's fighting me a little bit, but what I'm gonna do is just put a bolt in it and then spin her. All right, let's get this axle in. Hopefully it doesn't fight us anymore now that we cleaned it up. I'm just gonna spin this guy around a little bit. I like to put these axle nuts back on just to keep them from falling back out again. But before I do anything, I wanna get this bottom ball joint in. So I guess now I can tighten up this axle, and then we can get the rod on, tie rod arm on. Dirt all over my new shit. Give me 1 second. In the front. Well, good morning again. I don't know if you saw the sunset last night, but this is day 2. We ran into some issues in the front with finding this exhaust leak, so we decided to cut it. And then now we're working on the rear, obviously. So I already took apart that side. I'm about to put them all together, but this is the driver side. Driver and passenger are pretty much the same for suspension, and brakes is kind of like a normal brake job, but 2 bolts here for the rear shock, 1 center coming this way. Mini actually made it easy for some reason. I'm making it a lot more difficult than it could be. And then we're just gonna take apart the rear brakes and put, some new rotors and pads on while we're in here. So let's get after it. Shout out to all my dyslexic dudes, you're not alone. Probably say that every video. Be mindful of where you put your jack stand, because you need to compress your rear shock. On the other side, I already had the tire off when I put the jack stand in, I think. So I just put it right here. And that's actually like one of the perfect places for it because it's out of the way. There's like a little notch right here where there's nothing for it to hold on to. And then get your jack under your shock there. Give yourself a little bit of pressure just to, because you're gonna take that bolt out. It's a 21, should be. What do I got, 17? This one looks like it's ready to just come right out. Actually, I have to give it a little persuasion. Yeah. I'm just gonna take my little pry bar here and go in between the shock. Oh, okay. That was a lot. That other side did not do that. Looks like the suspension completely settled. I would say so.
That's a weird one.
That's one way to do it. Good thing my jack stands are in the right spot.
I thought my head wasn't fully under.
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, that whole suspension settled, the whole A-arm and everything. All right. Well, you're gonna want to put your jack stands in another spot. I feel like that's a time for a commercial break. Okay, actually don't do what I just told you, FYI. Don't put it on your swing arm in this trailing arm situation, because this is all independent and it moves just like that. Ask me how I know. Put it like I did on the other side. There's a beam down here that's a part of the actual frame. And if you're on your jacking point, if you look straight up here, there's a beam here that'll be on the frame, so that way your car doesn't lower as you remove the shock. We might include that clip. Don't do it. You gotta take off most of this stuff, like your bottom isolator. But this is your isolator to help the spring locate itself. You gotta take, this is if you're buying this Bilstein one that we bought, your shock cap off. So that goes on there too. You can throw away this, and then you gotta take that plate off. Woo! What a day. Is the sun going down or is that daylight savings time? I really hope that's daylight savings time. Let's get this wheel on here and see what we got. I mean, that's what we all do these for, right? Let's see. I don't know if you noticed in one of the clips, we threw some spacers on this, by the way, and they sent us the wrong thread pitch. So if you end up buying from that company, make sure you double check that before you tear open all the packaging and all that. But that was kind of sad because this thing's fitment was looking pretty good with them. So now we'll put some more spacers on it later. Would you look at that? This thing looks so much better. I bet you this thing's gonna ride really well. It's almost perfectly flush too. Yeah. Wow. So I don't know if you'll notice in the beginning photos, obviously this one isn't dummy dumped, but this is actually set up to be nice and flush. It's still gonna do some gravel road stuff. It's obviously going camping, so it's kind of like an all-purpose little mini SUV. So I think this is going to be perfect for it. We got a set of wheels that are coming for it in the future. But yeah, I mean, for a basic kit, you know, to do a 1.5 inch drop on a Countryman, which is 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, independent rear suspension, as we found out, right? And to be able to use it for a daily driver and a camper, and it's a turbo car, you know, 4-seater, like that's pretty nice for a regular daily driver. So this will be around for a while. The owner's not getting rid of it, but we didn't want to go too crazy, but I love the way this is going to be in the future, so I know she'll have fun with it. But anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. This was the Mini.